Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Joseph Pisani, and today we're talking about audio with the Mevo. So, welcome to Mevo Live. If you're just joining us, Mevo Camera does live shows 4 days a week, and on Fridays, this is the audio show. Tuesdays, you have Ask Mevo Anything with Joe Mevo, if you're familiar with him. Wednesdays, we also have a show with Will, who talks about our multicam app. So if you're new to Mevo, just know that we do have a brand new multicam app out available in the App Store or in the Google Play Store. So you can download and check that out there. On Thursdays, we do a dual show with Will and Joe, and they do basically Ask Mevo Anything. Ask them any question you want, go through any type of scenarios they want. They answer them live here on the show. And today is Friday. And you know what that means. It's time for the audio show. So I want to thank everyone for attending. Thank everyone for watching. Thanks for everyone for showing up. And I okay. Good. Back up. So that could happen. Sometimes cameras should freeze. So the way I fix that, if you're wondering, I'm using a system. So let's talk about our setup here. I'm using a system called OBS, and I have the cameras going NDI wirelessly to my OBS system using the NDI input. So now you should be able to see me. I should be in sync. I should be ready to go. It froze up a little bit there. That could be OBS, could be my computer, could be the wireless system, could be the network. These are type of the issues that people run into that just require some troubleshooting. And it looks like this was not happening earlier. Great, there we go. We're back on. Cool. All right, so let's dive into the setup. Let's talk about what we're looking at today. So right now I am using the Shure SM7B. This is actually being routed to a mixer here. So this mixer here is a Behringer mixer. It's the Xenix 1204. So this is a little bit more advanced mixer than the one that you're used to seeing from me. This one has some additional inputs on it, additional options as well. On the top row here, you have compression, which is great, especially if you want to smooth out your levels. Obviously, you have your EQ section here. You have your aux sends and your FX sends. So the reason why this is good, and then we're talking about the red knobs and the orange knobs right now. The reason why that's good is because you can create a separate submix using your red knobs, using your aux, and use this to send signal from this mixer to another source. So let's say, for example, you want to record your session on a separate drive or a separate computer or separate entity, but you want the live signal to be a little bit different. So this happens a lot when people do live shows. They might have an in-house mix and then they might have a submix. That submix, let's say you're recording a concert and you have the mix that's going out to the speakers, right? So that mix is going to be EQ'd differently. It's going to be adjusted differently. The levels are going to be different. What's going to your house versus what's coming in if you want to record that session and have it as a level recording. So having the auxiliary sends on a mixer like this gives you that option to send different things different places. Now, where this benefits us in the Mevo world is if you are doing something that's multicam, or if you're doing something that we're using multiple cameras, you can send different signal to different cameras so you can line up sync. So let's say you have all your microphones, let's go back to this, coming into the board here. I can send the outputs from here a number of different ways from the output section. So I can actually go to a bunch of different Mevos. This way everything's nice and synced up. On the bottom section here, you have on the black knobs is your pan, and then this is obviously your volume fader with your mute. So the reason why I want to bring this up is because we do get a lot of questions from people when they're using soundboards or mixers and stuff like that, and maybe they don't really know how to use them, or they get a little overwhelmed by the knobs and buttons and faders and stuff like that. But I can make it really easy. If you can just vertically understand what's happening from here to here, then you know what's happening on all the rest of the channels because they're all the same. So if you can, figure out like, okay, this is my compression, this is my EQs, this is my send. Again, if I turn this knob up, it'll send the signal somewhere else. This is my effects. So on this orange knob here, if I want to create a reverb or a delay or anything like that, I can use that. And here I can pan my audio to the left or right. That's the same for each channel on this mixer. So once you learn one channel, you kind of know them all. So before we continue, I do want to answer some questions. I do see some questions coming in, so let's check them out. And now look what I got. Bang, over the shoulder. Cool. So Carl Smith is chiming in from the UK saying hello. Hi, Carl. How are you? Thank you for chiming in. I don't know what time it is in the UK. I assume it's, I don't know, early, I would say, maybe late. Chris Carson's chiming in. He says, hey friends, love the current audio controls that the Start enables. Can't wait to see what's next and what improves from here. Great work, Mevo team. Awesome. Thank you for the compliments, Chris. For those of you that don't know, Chris is a very active member of our group. He's been working with the Mevos for a while, and he's always quick to tell us when things are going well and maybe when they're not going so well. But he's great to have on the team. Gene says, we've just started running sound from our soundboard into one of our Mevos. What's the best way to mute the mic on the other two Mevos? Great. I'm glad you asked this question. Let's dive in and take a look at it. All right. Let me get that up and running. Cool. So here I have my Mevo 2.0 app. It's set up on the tablet that's sitting right next to me. Let me get rid of this questions box first, though. And this question graphics you're seeing here, I'm actually doing that inside the Mevo app, so you can see me adjusting that here. So we got rid of it there. Let's go back into our audio settings. Now, the audio settings in the Mevo 2.0 app is the little microphone on the bottom left-hand side when you click the settings menu. So there you go. Great. So as you can see, this might look a little different than what you're seeing if you're using internal microphones. Right now, I have my mixer running, my microphone running to my mixer running out of the headphone output, which is right here. And this is a stereo 1/4-inch jack that's going to a stereo 1/8-inch jack or 3.5 millimeter. Now that's going into the back of the Mevo. And then here you can see that the line level is there. But this is the same regardless. So for the question, how do I mute the other channels? You can actually mute the different microphones. So if you look on here, I also have, let me turn this off. My Galaxy S9 is probably coming through too. I have the Galaxy S9 Plus plugged in through the Mevo remote app. I can control which one you're going to hear based off the mute. So let me just monitor myself real quick. Pull this up. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Okay. Check 1 2. Okay. So big difference. Big difference you're hearing from the Galaxy S9 Plus versus the SM7B, which is the line input, which is right here. So here, much more bassier tone. If anything, I could probably come down on that a bit comparatively. So right away, you can hear the difference between the microphones, and you can select which one you want to. There you go. So now you're hearing me through the Galaxy S9 Plus, which I have to my side. So that's how you would mute different sources in the Mevo 2.0 app. Cool. Let's get back to some questions. Let's throw up our graphic. Bam. Great. Cool. Jess says, what is your favorite mic and how would I connect it to the Mevo? That's a great question, Jess. I don't necessarily have a favorite mic because it depends on your application. So if you're doing something that's a little bit more talk radio or interview style or any type of long form conversation, I like the SM7B, the one I'm using right now. It has a pretty narrow, well, not narrow, it's just a more, it picks up the more direct signal very well. Whereas some mics, you might pick up more of the room. You might get a little bit more echo sound, and the room I'm in right now is extremely echoey. Actually, believe it or not, if you don't hear it coming through, it's because of this mic. I'm in basically a big brick wall behind me. All the reflections bouncing around. It's a wide open ceiling above me, so there's plenty of space and air that the sound can go. But this microphone picks up kind of right what's in front of it, so it picks up well. Now, if you're doing something where you have a one mic option and you want to do a discussion like a round table or something like that, I mean, we have the Blue Yeti Nano right here, or any of the Blue Yetis really. They have options to go omnidirectional. So we'll talk about polar patterns in a second, but the omnidirectional polar pattern allows the signal to be picked up from all around this microphone here, whereas on the SM7B, it's really just picking up what's in front of it. So it really depends on your application. As far as favorite mic, the U47 is pretty great. It's a pretty expensive microphone, but it's a vocal mic for music. Most of the records you probably listen to, if they're top 40 records, probably use this on their record. So it's an amazing mic to hear. Telefunctions are really good too. These are all high-end studio mics though. But for these types of scenarios, you know, the SM7B is great. The Blue Yetis are great as well. All right. Scott Poley says, I am getting ready to, before Scott, sorry, Scott, just as last question, how do I connect it? I kind of went over that already, but again, it's just the mic goes to the mixer goes to the Mevo. So on the back of the Mevo, there's a 3.5 millimeter input, which you guys can see right here, a little bit maybe. And that's just a line input. And when you plug in that line input, your mixer in your app will actually change and it'll look like this. So you'll see the line input option there, and notice it has line level and mic level. We're using line level signal because we're coming from the mixer. So the mixer is actually sending a line level signal. Great, cool. Back to you, Scott. I'm getting ready to set up my new Mevo. Can I plug a cord directly from my monitor directly to the Mevo? If you're talking about your monitor as in your computer monitor, no. Because that I guess what you're trying to do there is trying to send a signal from your computer to the Mevo. This would be similar to if you were if you were using like a HDMI connection or something like that. The Mevo doesn't do that, so there would be no way to do that. The Mevo is going to be your main source for your video, so you can connect it to other monitors using NDI through a computer. You can use wired or wireless webcam depending on your system, but you're not going to be able to go from the monitor HDMI, let's say, to the Mevo. All right, Chris says, there does appear to be a bug with specific starts getting stuck on external audio settings, even when external audio mic removed, obviously submitting a trouble ticket. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up, Chris, and I'm going to tell you why sometimes, not always, but why sometimes this can happen. When you're plugging the 3.5 millimeter jack into the back of the Mevo, if the jack in any way has any bend to it, which which happens often, honestly. The way these are connected is, even the one I'm holding right now has a slight bend in it. If this is damaged in any way, what it's going to do is when you pop it into the Mevo, and you pop this right into the back of the Mevo here, if there's a bend in it, it's going to disrupt the jacks inside the Mevo and shift them around. If those get shifted around in a certain way, it actually tells the Mevo sensor that there's an audio input plugged in. Now, this could get stuck if the jacks are bent, and basically what it'll look like is you will pull, what Chris is referring to is you'll pull the jack out and you'll still see this screen because the Mevo still thinks that the jack is connected. So if you do run into this issue, this is probably a hardware problem, and I would definitely check your cables. But before you call it a hardware problem, I would reboot your Mevo. You can do that by holding the power button on the back, or if you have a Mevo Plus, you wouldn't have this problem in the Mevo Plus, but there's a power button on the back. If you hold that down for about 30 seconds, the Mevo will recycle, re-clear the cache, and reset up. If that doesn't do it, we can always try and do a factory reset. Just know, if you're doing factory resets on your Mevo, you're getting rid of any settings that you might have. So if you had anything like this graphic saved, or if you have anything as far as your visual graphics, your image adjustments, anything like that, if you do a factory reset, just know that all that stuff's going to get wiped out. And you'll probably have to do a firmware update after that. So it's really just resetting the Mevo back to its factory settings. If that doesn't work when you have this problem, chances are it's actually a physical issue with the jack, and maybe you plugged in a 3.5 millimeter that might have a little bend in it. And it's no one's fault if that happens, because sometimes they're really hard to see. For example, this one has a slight bend in it, but most people probably wouldn't notice that. So that is something to be aware of, and that goes for any audio jack. I mean, any type of mixer, anything. You want to double check your cables, do all your testing before you stream. It's super important that all those things are taken care of, so you don't have to worry about it in the middle of a stream or anything like that. So thanks, Chris, for that. Chris, again, he says, I love using AirPods to monitor the audio when the Mevo with an iPhone or iPad. Great feature. Absolutely. So what he's talking about there is, if you look next to the help on the top of the mixer here on the top right, you'll see that the speaker icon is crossed out. The speaker icon is actually your monitor. So a lot of people think that that's going to be what's sending to your feed. That's not the case. This is just for you to monitor the audio coming in. So if I were to click it on mine, now you'll hear some feedback. You're going to hear me coming through the tablet that I'm using, and it sounds great. So we can simply turn that off. So this is a great call out, Chris, because a lot of people ask us, hey, I'm getting this crazy echo. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't have headphones plugged in. But you notice when you unclick this, you get a notice right on the top left there that tells you, hey, you might want to plug in headphones because you could run into feedback. So if you're using a tablet that's right in front of you, like mine is right now, and then you have the Mevo in front of you, if you're using the internal microphones, it'll hear that, and then that's when you get that crazy feedback loop, all those echoes. You don't want it. So the Mevo 2.0 gives you that option to shut monitoring off, but you can always kick it back on just to double check. So check 1 2, check 1 2. I hear myself coming through. I'm good to go. I'll turn the monitoring back off. Cool. Thank you for that, Chris. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So Zach says, I noticed a slight bit of lag, 500 milliseconds or so between audio and video right now. Just wondering how much of an issue this is for multicam AV sync via multicam app. I do multicam via NDI and OBS right now. One of the cams is Mevo right now, but I'm considering buying 2 more multicams, but audio sync needs to be on point. This is a great question, Zach. So let's get into this. A couple of things. So you're talking about going NDI to OBS. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. If you're using multiple cameras and multiple NDI sources, regardless if they're wireless or wired, you do want one source to be ultimately your audio feed. If you have to have, for example, yesterday we had a live show. We had a camera pointed at Will on the other side of the studio, and we had a camera pointed at Joe. The way to get that audio to sync perfectly, I don't know what that was, would be to split your outputs from your mixer to each Mevo. So what I mean by that is have each microphone source, so right here, this microphone source, coming through the mixer here, right? And then your outputs, you have choices. So this output is going to one Mevo. You can have these outputs go to another Mevo. And what that's doing, it's guaranteeing that all the source audio coming in is coming in synced, coming from your mixer to the Mevo. So when you switch to that camera, you're not using audio from a different Mevo camera. Does that make sense? So you would actually literally plug in your 3.5 millimeter jacks out of each individual camera that you're using, plug them into your mixer. So now your mixer is feeding all those cameras at the same time. So that's all synced up. You could run into those syncing issues if you are trying to use different cameras as different audio sources as well, or different cameras and one audio source, because the OBS system is getting its audio from basically wirelessly from an NDI source from one camera. For that to link up and sync with another camera at the same time and keeping that together, it can get kind of iffy. I've had ups and downs with this. I've been able to do it where everything just synced up perfectly. And I've also had plenty of times live on the show where it was out of sync. So that could be the reason. But the best way to just not have to worry about sync is to just make sure you have direct signal going to the Mevo that you're looking at. So for this camera, mixer, right to the Mevo. Cool. All right. Mark says, wondering what brand model this mixer is. Jumped on late, may have missed it. Sure. Well, take a look at it. That's a Behringer. That's the X1204 USB mixer. So this mixer is a little unique where it has a USB out, but it also has analog outs. So, you know, I think this thing's a workhorse. So this thing's really great, especially if you're doing any type of like live setup, or even if you're just doing like a podcast. I mean, you're going to get clean signal. You have options for compression up here on your top 4 channels for your XLR inputs. You have obviously all your line inputs as well. So yeah, great mixer. And you can process reverb, delays, and stuff through here, which is pretty cool too. So yeah, that's that mixer. All right, and then Zach has another follow-up here. So he says, probably can look this up, but I'm here, so I might as well ask. Fair enough. Is the Start 8-bit, 10-bit? As far as the audio, neither. It's going to do 16-bit audio. I believe it might even be 32. Actually, I think it's 32-bit audio. It's 48K, 32-bit audio. I'm 99% positive of that. So yeah, nothing's 8-bit anymore unless you're playing Super Nintendo, which even that was 16-bit. So yeah, there you go. You get good audio. So 48 and 32-bit. Cool. Awesome. Looks like that's it for questions right now. So let's get rid of our questions graphic and let me show you how I do that too. So my objective on these shows, guys, is just always to show you what I'm doing. So it's not this crazy mystery because you can do this yourself. So if I go into my graphics menu, which is on the bottom right, third from the right there, I can get rid of that graphic and take it out. And now we're back. Cool. Oh, looks like we're getting a follow-up here. I'll come back to that. So a couple of things I want to talk about. We talked a little bit. Let me know if you see me freezing or if it's just my feed, because this could be just my computer. 8-bit or 10-bit color, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I'll reach out to the software team and see what they say. Okay, we were going to get into well, you know what? Before I show you the slides I prepared, let's talk about some things that Mevo has going on, right? So right now we have a pretty cool referral program. It's kind of right now, but it's kind of always. You can, if you're a Mevo customer and you're already part of like our Mevo family, you can save some friends or family additional costs of their Mevo. So you can save them 5% or earn a 5% commission as well. So you can do this by visiting mevo.com/referral or mevo.com/refer. Now, what's great about that is you can pair that with some sales that we have going on. So these sales are available for the US only. So I apologize for anyone outside of the US that can't take advantage of this. But it's US only right now, and it ends on May 9th of this year. And if you look, you can get the Mevo Start for $20 off. You have the Ethernet power adapter. So this is if you want to connect that Ethernet connection and get that good internet to your Mevo, $129.99. And it also has the Mevo Start case as well for $19.99. And on top of that, we got one more thing too. We have our little producer bundle. So we're calling this the desktop producer bundle. It comes with the Mevo Start table stand and the Mevo Start case. And this is available for $463.98, which I believe is $45-ish off of the normal price of these. And again, this is available at mevo.com. It's US only, and it ends, this bundle ends on the 1st of May. And I believe the sales will end on the 9th of May. So what's cool about that is I actually have that kind of set up to my left here. So that Mevo stand, that desktop stand, is actually what's holding the camera that's shooting this overhead shot here. Sweet. Awesome. So I want to talk about some things. So let's go back to this. And you probably didn't hear me right there, so I have to make a quick change on my camera. So here's what we're going to do. Great. Got me back. Wonderful. Okay. So the reason why I lost audio there, and let me go back, is in OBS, you can set up different scenes and sources. You got to double check and make sure that whatever your main source is kind of across the board on your scenes, because my audio is coming through my Mevo, and that wasn't in that specific scene. So let's go back to it. So hopefully you guys can hear me now. So this is a little diagram just showing you the different types of connections that you can use with the Mevo. The two on the right may look a little bit bigger, but that's just because I just wanted to show you what they look like. That's a 1/4 inch jack, but these will also come in 3.5 millimeter as well. So when you hear phrases like TRS, tip ring sleeve, tip ring sleeve, whatever the case may be, this is what they're talking about. So the jack on the left is actually a mono connection. So it's just a tip and a sleeve. So it's a signal and a ground. So this is if you're using if you're not using any type of stereo if you're not using any type of stereo signal, you'll find this is most common on a guitar input or even like a keyboard input or something like that. Any type of instrument connection, they're going to be a mono signal. So you're only going to see the one ring. But if you go back into this, is right, where did it go? There it is. Nope, that's the sales slides. The next one is going to be your most common. So this is your stereo jack. So this is tip, ring, sleeve, or you can think of this as left, right, ground. This is your most common jack. This is what's going to give you a stereo image. This is going to give you that left and right audio. This is also going to be the jack that's going to be used anytime you're doing any type of line output or line input into the Mevo. Again, the size of this one you're seeing right now is the 1/4 inch version, but think of it as smaller for the 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter. And that's what goes into the back of the Mevo. But the most important one I want to talk about is this next one, which is tip, ring, sleeve. And I probably should have made this graphic with me in it, but that's okay. So the tip, ring, sleeve, let's go back to me for a second. So that's the one that has 2 rings on it. This is most common with jacks like the iRig. So a lot of times we'll get tickets or we'll get questions about the iRig, and they'll say I'm plugging the iRig into the back of my Mevo, and that that gives you a 1/4 inch jack connection to a mixer, but you're not hearing anything. And the reason why you're not hearing anything is because of this. So this is the tip, ring, sleeve. What you're looking at there is a left, right, and microphone return. So what this jack is actually looking for is if you have, I mean, nowadays with iPhones, you're kind of using lightning connections, so that kind of takes care of a lot of this. But if you have a Android phone that has the 1/8 inch jack in or 3.5 millimeter in, you're going to see that tip, ring, sleeve, because it wants to be able to have that line to be able to send that microphone signal back. So if you have a headset that has a mute button on it and a microphone, that's the line for that microphone. Now, the Mevo isn't looking for any type of microphone connection, right? Because the Mevo is not actually sending signal out of the device. Everything is happening wirelessly. So for that reason, these jacks, again, the tip, ring, sleeve, the one you see on the right, it's not going to work with the Mevo. You're going to run into connection issues. So if you're running into these types of issues, check that first. All right, cool. So a couple of things that we see a lot is, and especially recently, is a lot of people have been talking about how do I get rid of wind noise? And if I'm filming outdoors, especially now that the weather's getting nice, at least here, I'm in the Brooklyn office, so we're in the East Coast. Weather's getting pretty nice. I'm starting to see a lot more people going out and playing baseball, softball, whatever, soccer. So if you're running into issues where you're getting a lot of wind noise and stuff like that, there are a couple of different options that you have for this. But I do want to call out some of our group members. So I'm just going to take this opportunity right now. If you're not involved in the Mevo groups, jump into groups on Facebook, because chances are if you're waiting for us to answer for something, where as far as like a best practice or something in a ticket, you'll probably get an answer faster from the people that are actually using these every day. So we use our Mevos here every day, but our options are limited. We have studio space. I'm not actually taking this out and using it on a ball field. So we're getting great advice. So I'm going to show you a couple of slides and give a couple of shout outs to some of our Mevo group customers that are helping spread the Mevo love. So shout out to Amber Alexis. She posted this, I believe it was yesterday or maybe even earlier today. But she was getting a lot of crazy wind noise on the Mevo. And if you don't know, the Mevo Start, the microphones are on top right here. So what she did was she found, I don't know, a dollar store. It looks like pipe cleaner, maybe. I don't even know what it is. But or maybe she purchased it on Amazon. I think she linked it in the Facebook post. So if you're a member of the group, you can go ahead and check that out. But she reported back saying that it really took care of a lot of the wind noise that she was experiencing, and it's pretty innovative. So sometimes it doesn't have to be flashy. Sometimes it doesn't have to be like a Ryo coat windscreen for it to just mitigate some of the wind noise coming into the mics. I want to show you one more too. So this is from Randall, and Randall's pretty innovative with this. And again, this just goes to show you there's no real there's no real rule in audio. The only rule is, does it sound good? You know, make it sound good. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you have a mixer. It doesn't matter if you have internal microphones from the Mevo. It doesn't matter if you have a Blue Yeti. It doesn't matter. Does it sound good? And ultimately that's the question you want to ask yourself. So what Randall did is similar to the last one. Is he actually just cut a piece of tube sock and wrapped it around the Mevo, and he said he had great results. As you can see, his Mevo is connected to his fence clip, so I know he's definitely using this, at least at a softball field or a baseball field or anything like that, which is pretty cool. So shout out to Randall, shout out to Amber. You guys really are being pretty innovative with those, so I want to make sure you got some recognition for that, because again, sometimes, you know, we've been asked, hey Mevo, are you going to make a windscreen for the Mevo Start? And it's like, sure, we probably could, and it'll probably, you know, cost a pretty penny, and when you can just cut up a sock and you might have a similar result. So do what you can, make the best with what you got. I love that innovation. So if anyone else has anything like that where you're being super innovative with the Mevo, post it in the chat, post some pictures, let me see what you're doing. Tell me about your use case scenarios. Tell me where you're even using the Mevo from. I would love to hear that in the chat. Great. So since we're talking wind, let me go back to this real quick. Oh. You know, I have a Stream Deck, I should use it, right? So since we're talking wind, what I'm going to do now is take a second to remove the line input from the Mevo, and we're going to go into the Mevo's internal microphones and check out some of the features there. You will notice a huge difference here, and we're going to go through what all that sounds like. So check out, well, keep an eye on where it says line in level. I got to get up for a second. All right, you probably heard a little bit of a pop there. Let me turn off my filter. Okay, so you're hearing a lot more of the room right now. Obviously, I'm not even speaking through this microphone anymore right here. I'm coming directly from the Mevo. And the noise you're hearing is there's construction going on behind us. They got saws and drills and machines running. But what you can see from the screen is the different modes. So check out the general mode, which actually sounds pretty good. This actually sounds better. Picking up a little bit more echo, not so much direct signal. Let's see what the music sounds like. So this is the music mode. So with this one, you hear a little bit more air, a little bit more crispness in the air, which is really meant to pick up that high end if you're filming a band or any type of live music. So this is going to be the speech setting. So in this setting, you're looking at a much more direct signal. And this is important too. If you just pull the Mevo out of the box and you don't have a mixer, you don't have any type of setup, start with the speech setting if you're doing any type of front-facing you know, videos or anything like that. Because what the speech setting will do is it'll pick up directional audio and not pick up so much of what's behind it or around it. So comparing the speech setting, let's go back in and we'll go over to that general setting. When I go to the general setting, much more of the room. When I go to the speech setting, it's a lot more direct signal. So let's talk about the wind setting itself. So this is the wind setting. You're not going to hear a big difference there. But let me go into add this to this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to add the Galaxy 9 as a remote source. Connect it there. Now I can see it in here. I'll mute myself there real quick. Monitor. Great. So now I'm coming from the cell phone that's right next to me and that audio. And I'm going to play you a demo with wind mode off so you guys get an idea of what the wind mode can do.
46, 47, 82, 81, 95, 43.
All right, let's try that again. Let's go lower that so I don't kill you guys. So again, wind mode off.
46, 47, 82, 81, 95, 43,
Let's take a look at Windows.
46, 47, 82, 81, 95, 43.
So right there you can hear, you're not getting that low end woof, right? That all that noise that's coming through. You're not getting that. The wind mode will cut that out. But it's not going to take care of everything. You can still hear some wind. So using something of the techniques from the Mevo group members, you can maybe get rid of more of that wind noise. So that's the wind mode. That's the demo. I'm going to switch back over to my SM7B and take it from there. So again, take a look at the app. You'll notice that when I plug in the line input, these options for the audio processing will change because those are dedicated for the internal microphones. And just like that, we're back onto the SM7B. All right, so with that, we're going to take a look and see if there's any more questions. It doesn't look like we have anything coming in right now. So before I go, I want to make sure I mention this again. If you are a Mevo customer and you want to, again, spread that Mevo love, you can save your friends or family 5% off their Mevo purchase, and you can earn a 5% commission back on your end. Excuse me. And you can do this at mevo.com/referral or mevo.com/refer. We also have some sales going on. So right now, you can get the Mevo Start. Again, it's $20 cheaper, $379. We have the Ethernet adapter, which if you're looking to get the best direct signal for your Ethernet, if you have bad Wi-Fi, I do recommend getting this. It's at $129.99 right now. And then obviously the case, I mean, every expensive electronic device needs a case, and we have them for $19.99 on sale. And we also have the bundle, which is the desktop producer bundle. So you'll get the desktop stand, you'll get the case, and you'll get the Mevo. And this is available in the US only. This ends in the beginning of next month, but you're looking at, I want to say $45 off of the actual normal pricing. So with that being said, I just want to say happy Friday to everybody. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Take care.